Right, one of our big stories of this morning, big story of the week. Abu Dhabi to get an emirate-wide vertiport system linking business, tourism and other hubs across the capital. Duncan Walker is the CEO of Skyports, and they are the people who are going to make the infrastructure happen. Duncan, it's so good to speak to you this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. How are you?
I am well. Tell me about the job, though, that you have ahead of you. What is the scale of this network? How many vertiports? Where will we see? And what can you tell me about where they're going to be located?
So this is another super exciting movement in the Middle East for vertiports and advanced air mobility. Yesterday we announced with ADIO and Abu Dhabi airports that we'll be building more than 10 state-of-the-art vertiports all the way across Abu Dhabi. This is an amazing network. It's going to connect all sorts of areas in Abu Dhabi and then also between Emirates as well.
Okay, you say more than 10. How big could it get?
Well, really, that's a function of demand. So 10 is the initial network, and we'll see how well the network is used over time. We expect it to grow for sure. It'll take time. You know, this is a new public transportation network for the Emirates, so it will take time. It will take time for vehicles to come in and for customers to adopt this form of transportation. But frankly, we see it like a network of metro stations. It can be as many as possible, and the more there are, the more convenient it is for the customers. So we hope that there's many of these in the future.
Okay, so which locations have we identified for these first 10?
So first two will be at Zayed International Airport and Bateen Executive Airport, and then we'll connect Yas Island, Saadiyat, Abu Dhabi Island, and more as time goes on.
Are they going to be in residential areas? Are they going to be in commercial areas? What do you actually need in a space to put a vertiport?
Yeah, so yes to all of the above. So what we need is the movement of people and goods, really. Anywhere where there's congestion, anywhere where there's dense population, anywhere where cargo is being moved around, all of those work well. You know, what we're trying to do is help efficiency of people and passenger and cargo movement around the Emirates. We're trying to help congestion. So everywhere where there's population areas, where there's residential areas, where there's business areas, where there's tourism areas, where there's transportation networks existing that we can connect to, great locations for vertiports.
And who will eventually get to use them? Are we talking about sort of one national or Abu Dhabi-wide air taxi fleet? Are we talking about competing air taxi fleets? How could it ultimately work?
Yeah, so think about it like an airline. You can fly out of Zayed International, you can fly out of Dubai, and you can choose which airline you like. Ultimately there will be lots of providers, much like taxi companies, and the more successful the network and the better the customer service, the more people will come in and use it. So what we like is competition. What we like is lots of vehicles, because that reduces the wait time for customers, and that's what it's all about.
But what kind of volume, though, can each of these vertiports handle?
So we can do hundreds of people a day at each of these vertiports. So if you think about 100 landings, you've got 4 people per landing for a single landing pad. Some of these vertiports have multiple landing pads. We're sort of into the hundreds, and at scale you can get well into the thousands. Now, of course, it's not like a metro network which can do tens of thousands of people a day, but it's an addition to the transportation network. It's more of a personalized public transportation network, but still well into the hundreds per vertiport. So the network itself will transport thousands and thousands of people.
And how close do the vertiports need to be to each other, given the battery technology that we're talking about for these flying taxis at the moment?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So range of these flying taxis is up to about 150 kilometers. Now, vertiports themselves will be much closer, because what we're trying to create is a network. So what I don't want is you trying to use the network and having to travel 15, 20 kilometers to get on the aircraft, and then another 20 kilometers the other side. So what we need is a proliferation of these to provide a really convenient public transportation network. So ultimately the vehicles can go up to 150 kilometers, but what we want is you to be able to walk 10 minutes at most to a vertiport over time.
Will the vertiports then be charging? Presumably it doesn't work for the air taxis to go back to base each time. They need to either charge or, swap out a battery.
Yeah, that's exactly right. So there's charging locations at each of these vertiports. Quick charging, so these vehicles can charge in about 10 minutes. Whilst they are loading and unloading passengers, they'll be charging. Customers won't even know about it, and then they'll be off to the next location.
So what's the time frame for construction? Talk me through what happens now to the point that we are abuzz with air taxis.
So we're already on the way. We're already under construction. This is happening. It's real. I'm in Abu Dhabi right now at the DriftX conference. There are loads of flying taxis there, all doing their thing, doing exhibitions. We will be operational early next year. So construction's already underway on those first two locations at Zayed International and Bateen.
Okay, so those first two will be up and running early next year. What's the time frame for the rollout of the next 8?
Yes, so then it's sequential after that. So we're very much on the track. We're working with all of the authorities. We'll start construction of the next ones early next year, and we'll add incremental sites. Every few months a new one will be coming on board, which is really great for the customers.
What kind of investment are we talking about to build a network like this? How much does it cost?
It's not cheap. Building isn't cheap. The good thing about these is that they're fairly small to start with. So each one, $5 to $10 million US dollars. So what's that? 30 million dirham up to per site. Depends very much on the location. But in that order gives you a good indication.
Well, thank you so much for joining us this morning. When do you think, by the way, we'll have the entire network up and running between Emirates, around Abu Dhabi? When will we be properly linked?
Properly linked, I think I can see that within 18 months, really flying between the Emirates. I think the entire network, if this is successful, the answer to that is never, because we'll incrementally build more and more and more. And if you see successful metro networks, you're always adding an extra station, an extra line, and hopefully over time we add more and more until we've got really great coverage of the entire Emirates.
Duncan Walker is the CEO of Skyports. They are the people behind the infrastructure, behind these vertiports for this massive network that we've just had announced for Abu Dhabi. Thank you very much for your time.